Hello, my name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 138 of the Watch Dog podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know, I appreciate it. This week's episode should get people talking. I mentioned it in the episode, but I also want to mention it here. Based on the title, there is going to be swearing in this episode. Liberal usage of the old SH word. So I will put the explicit label on this episode. If there are small children in the car with you or around you, wherever you might be listening, I would hit pause and listen to it later when you're alone. There's your warning. You've been warned. I will say shitter from here on out. Second, I just want to say this is all in good fun, okay? It goes without saying that whatever little flicker of interest you have in the watch hobby, you should follow it with no apologies. Buy what you like and be yourself. We do mention brands by name here, not only affordable, but also high-end brands as well. Some of you might be uncomfortable with what we say, and you know what? I think that's okay. I think it's one of the benefits of being a completely independent podcast. We can be honest. I'll speak for myself. I appreciate it when podcasters and YouTubers are brutally honest. I may not agree with it all the time, what they say, but I appreciate it. This is one of those episodes where I absolutely want feedback, whether you agree with what we say or not. I'll mention it at the end of the podcast, but please reach out via Instagram Messenger or comment on the YouTube version of this podcast. You can also leave comments on Spotify, I believe. Not sure about Apple Podcasts. And links to Instagram and YouTube will be in the show notes. So, do you use the term shitter? Do you find it offensive? I can't wait to hear it. So no more rambling for me. Let's get on with this shitter of an episode. I'll see you on the other side of my chat with Keith about shitters. Oh, he's back for his, what? I guess it's your monthly appearance now. You're just on at least once a month.
That's what it seems to be lately.
Yeah, the 11th time, I think, 11th or 12th. I have to go back in the archives. But my buddy Keith, thank you so much for taking the time once again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah. Let's just get right into it because since you were on last, you did something very rare. You bought a watch.
I actually bought 2 watches, if you can believe it.
Oh, you did? Do I know about the second one?
You do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't buy it for myself.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know about that one now. So it's a watch. Well, one of them at least is a watch you've talked about a lot on the air. So yeah, let us have it. Hit us with it. What watch did you buy?
Yeah, I'm actually wearing it right now. It's the Seiko SPB 513, the new diver speed timer.
Yes.
Because that's a thing. Have a diver speed timer. And yeah, so far it's an awesome watch, just like I hoped it would be, and I've worn it a lot the last 2 weeks. Actually finally switched over to a different watch recently, but yeah, I've really been enjoying it.
You talked about the weight a little bit being are you getting used to that now? Are you pumping some iron? It's a little easier to wear now.
Yeah, it's like I'm in the gym whenever I put this on, it's like I'm lifting weights. No, it's like, to the average person, I'm sure it's just fine. For me, it's a little heavy. I have about a 6-inch wrist. It weighs about 134 grams on the bracelet. And I was really hoping to wear it on the bracelet. I haven't really worn a watch on a bracelet much. Man, I can't remember. Besides like that, I wear a Haleo sometimes. Other than that, I either like have a titanium watch or I wear watches on straps. So, it took some getting used to. I think it's actually pretty good. To test it out, I've just been wearing it. I wore it every day for a long time, and I think I could handle it, barely. Then keep in mind, I'm a weakling. Most people can handle it, but that's really that. And as far as like, things I might change, it's really that, and the bezel it looks great, but to actually use it for timing, that the print's kind of small, so it's hard to see quickly. I kind of have to stare at it a little bit, and I have decent vision. So the the numbers on the bezel a little hard to see, but otherwise I love the look of the watch. And it only has like the 2 micro adjust holes, or like you only have like one option to micro adjust it. And I've seen that criticism a lot. I just happen to get like the absolute perfect fit, so it works for me that way. So that's not an issue at all. And I kind of like having the data. I know there's a lot of date criticism because it's a 4:30 date in the circle. Now, would have I preferred it to be at 3 or 6 o'clock? Yes. But as far as the date goes, it works well. And it gives you a little, it gives you a little indication of which hour marker you're looking at, because besides the 12, they're all the same size. And usually I like a little difference in the 3, 6, 9 o'clock, if they're a little bigger, if they have like a double marker there, just to, you could more easily at a glance see the time. But because of that date being there, that kind of helps out with reading quickly. So yeah, I would certainly recommend it. I think the price is decent on it. It's the worst sizing I've ever experienced on a watch. The collar is so small on this watch compared to the other watches I've sized with pin and collars that I really, really struggled with it, but I was able to do it in the end. By the end, I got it kind of down, but it took me a long time. So good luck to anyone sizing this watch. That's all I got to say.
Sometimes you just need to, if you're doing it at your desk, you just need to walk away for a bit. Take a deep breath, walk away.
Yeah, I walked away. I went to sleep and I woke up. And after a little while, I went at it again, and it worked easy. It's kind of like when you're struggling in a video game and you can go to sleep and wake up and you're better at it the next day. It was kind of like that.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes you just need a clear perspective. You've been doing it for a long time. You're like too focused. And you just get frustrated. I can feel myself like sweat, or just like my blood pressure rise or something. I just get warm and I'm just like, all right, calm down, buddy. It's no big deal. Just walk away.
Yeah. Like I haven't had much. I've only sized 3 pin and collar watches, but I'm used to putting the collar in, it just sits in the bracelet. But this one, if you have the watch on its side and you put the collar in, it just falls through the hole. So you have to, basically flip it 90 degrees to get the collar to stay. So you could put I don't know, it was a huge headache. And that collar, so like the Grand Seiko, I could put the collar in with just my fingers, but this one I needed a tool to grab it. Otherwise I couldn't grab it with my fingers because it was so small. So, in the past I've said I'm a very pro pin and collar. I think I still am, but this one really tested me.
Well, that's a different style bracelet than Seiko typically makes. I don't think I've ever owned a Seiko with that type of bracelet. Is that a new bracelet for
I think
Seiko?
it is newer, yeah.
Yeah. I'll put a link to it in the show notes, of course. And back to the 4:30 date thing. I don't even notice it when you show me pictures of that watch, like a wrist shot or something. I barely notice the 4:30 date window on that. It's weird how with some watches it sticks out like a sore thumb to me, and that one it just blends right in. Now, how different is it's kind of hard for me to get a sense. I've never seen it in person. What color that dial actually is. Is there a big discrepancy between like the whites of the date window and the dial?
Yeah, there's a discrepancy. Big, well, yeah, kind of. It's like the dial is kind of silvery and kind of beigey, depending on the light. So it is different. I will say, I wish they would make these date windows bigger, like take up the whole space between the 2 markers. But there's more space they could have used. Like make it bigger so it's easier to read. That would be my critique. But the actual idea of a 4:30 date window doesn't bother me. Like I think you're much more bothered by it, right?
Yeah, but like I said in the episode I just released yesterday, like not really in person. Like that Vogard has a 4:30 date window, and when I wear that watch, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't even notice it. But if I were to look at a picture, I guess I did look at blown up pictures, it still didn't bother me because I love the complication. But no, I think, when I'm looking at a computer screen or my phone and there's like that image in your face, I don't necessarily love the way it looks. But no, yeah, in person, not that big. It's not like I'm looking, I don't have my watch right up to my eyeball, so I see all these things blown up, right? I'm always looking at a watch from a distance. So I guess the little details that bother me online don't bother me in person.
Now, I will say, like, I have my computer up right now, and I'm being advertised the new the Citizen Green dial.
Oh,
I think it's like a 50th anniversary or something. Now that's a date window. Like that's a nicely framed, nicely big at 3 o'clock. That's a date window. This cannot compare to that, but this will do.
yeah, like, I love a framed date window, like the SJE 093, and then, like, the Marine Masters Seiko released a couple years ago had the 4-3 date window. I hated the way it looked on those. But now they're coming out with new Marine Masters. They just announced last week some new releases, and it's back at the 3. It's not framed, I don't think, on those, but it
No.
still looks much better to me.
Yeah, it looks much better. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I think so it is framed. They came out with two. They came out with a black and a blue. The blue is framed, the
Okay.
black is not.
All right, I'm getting them up here right now.
I didn't have that memorized. That's what I have up on my screen right now.
Okay, yes. So you're right. The blue sort of, I don't know what you'd call that design on the dial. It's nice looking. That's again like a watch that I don't know I would buy because I may get sick of that pattern, but right now it
Yeah.
looks nice. But yes, the black one is not. But yeah, those are nice. I guess Jams Tech limited edition. I don't know what Jams Tech is. Oh, Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology. There you go. But yeah, that makes sense. It looks very ocean marine life. They released some new Vanics as well that I think are really nice looking in titanium. They look great.
Yeah, they do look really nice.
A little more
like the black
understated
dial.
and
Yeah, like,
subdued
great.
than the original release of the Vanics that were like purple and brown and blue and some wild colors.
Yeah.
These are a little more subdued.
It's still a unique design, not for everyone, but I like that it's unique and it looks great. So I'm thinking these are gonna sell pretty well. I mean, I forget how much they are. I think they're pricey. What are they, $4,000 or something? But
Yeah.
must be making that up. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, they're great looking watches. Big into titanium now, as we've been talking. After wearing this and realizing it's a bit heavy, now I'm all about titanium for my next watch.
All right. So you said now you started the year with a list of potential watch purchases, and that list is completely flipped on its head now. What's on there? Is it all titanium?
Yeah, right now it's all titanium. Yeah, I've pretty much thrown out the list and started over again. What's on my mind right now? Like, I'm really curious to see if what Tudor's going to do at Watches and Wonders. Are they going to have a new 39 Pelagos? Curious to see that. And what was that? Oh yeah, I was looking at the Citizen. If I could get into quartz, quartz, it's not worked out well for me for the last two. I've owned two quartz watches. This has not worked out well for me, but maybe I'm gonna try a third and final time, maybe. And if I do, it'd be the Citizen or the Aqua Eraser, the Tag, Telegraph. That's really what's on my mind. I do have a lot of interest in the PRX Titanium. I must say, I think that's a good looking watch. I'm trying to, for my next watch, get something a little higher end. I really don't need another affordable watch, but it's so easy. That's the thing. It's so easy. You could just buy it so easily.
Yeah. That's going to be a segue into our main topic here.
Well, before that, we segue into that. I will segue into. I did buy my wife a PRX, and I think it's impressed me way more than I thought it would. Even it looks great on her wrist. It looks like $1 million on someone's wrist when you're just like looking at it, because like the bracelet looks so nice. The bracelet looks way nicer than my new Seiko. I would say the head of the watch is better on the Seiko, but the bracelet on the PRX is a lot nicer, I think. At least it looks a lot nicer when you just see it on someone's wrist. So yeah, she's really liking it. I think I told you when I bought it, they said, "Oh, do you know about Tissot?" And I said, "No, I'll let them go through their spiel." This is at a Macy's, by the way, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Tissots are handmade." And I said, "Oh, interesting." How many people are you telling that to?
That's amazing.
But yeah, it's a 35 quarts. It's called their silver dial, although it's very blue. It's a silvery blue. And like I saw it in person, and like the seconds hand really hits those markers on like half the dial, and it's only very so slightly off on the other half of the dial, which is like the best you could ask for.
Yes.
And the date window's nicely centered. I went through all the dates, and it just like it's a good. And she has a Timex and Victorinox, and this is like way better quality than those other two watches. So I think it's worked out well.
And I don't know her, but I'm assuming she will not obsess with the seconds hand not hitting the markers on half the dial. I assume she couldn't care less about that.
No, and the Victorinox she wears, it pretty much doesn't hit any marker. The date window like is way misaligned.
Yeah.
But she loves that watch anyway. So
Yeah. They don't. I've noticed my wife doesn't care about that stuff.
Yeah, I bought that online, and I couldn't check it beforehand, and we just kind of went with it. But that it bothers me so much, even though it's not my watch. But
is that your hang up on quartz? Is that one of the reasons you don't like quartz, or you just think you should own automatics, or you prefer automatics?
I just prefer it. Yeah, I feel like something's missing when I'm wearing a quartz watch. Like, yeah, it's just not as cool, and it's to me. But probably something I should get over, because there's some great quartz watches out there. I'm looking at the Citizen right now, and that advertisement looks amazing. So
I guess it, especially with a high accuracy quartz, just comes down to, are you okay with not ever fussing with your watch? An automatic watch is almost like having a dog. Like, they're very needy, right? They need to be worn. They need to be wound. They need to be set. Quite often, dogs need to be fed. They need to be let out. They need water. Cats are a little more independent, but dogs rely on you. So yeah, maybe quartz is like having a cat, and automatics like having a dog.
Yeah, and it would be nice to have one analog watch I could grab and go, because I didn't admit this, but sometimes none of my watches are running. So
yeah,
I'm trying to actually make it a point, actually, since we last talked on the podcast, to wear watches more when I'm just like sitting around the house. So I've definitely been doing that. So now I actually have 2 automatic watches running right now. But sometimes I am like leaving in a hurry, and I would like to wear an analog watch, and I just don't have one running. So it'd be nice to have one for that reason alone, let alone the other. I mean, the Citizen movement, the quartz movement in that watch is so cool that it's like the coolest. It's one of the coolest movements you could have, and I just got to get over my feelings on quartz.
I think the rest of the watch, you obviously love Grand Seiko, so the rest of the watch is just so beautiful, and it's also it's so cool with the washi paper. It does not look like a solar watch whatsoever. So it's so neat how they're able to do that. So I think, I have a feeling anyway, you'll be so impressed by the rest of the watch that even if you don't love that it's quartz, you'll be able to overlook that, I think.
I hope so. I hope so.
Back to the PRX real quick. Jody, Just One More Watch, did a video how he upgraded from the quartz to the automatic, and he was highlighting the bracelet. I agree with what you said. The bracelet looks really great on that. Yeah, that's nice.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna talk about it when we talk about the main topic, but yeah, I just don't need another affordable watch, even though I like them so much, but we'll see.
Maybe you're just an affordable watch guy. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings on my collection overall. I think I'm a 6, I have a 6 watch limit. I think a 3 luxury and a 3 affordable is a good middle ground, even though I don't think I've ever owned 2 luxury at once.
Yeah.
So it might take me a while to get there, to get myself to.
I also think you're a guy who's not super comfortable wearing your luxury watches all the time. So is that something you want 3 of? Like, will you feel free to wear those? And I know like maybe it's like drawing attention. It's not only scratches. It's like maybe too shiny for work or something. So is
Yeah.
three luxury watches like something you're comfortable with?
I think depending on the watch, like I've really realized with the Seikos that I have that I just like divers. I like tool looking watches. I don't like super tool looking watches like Zin. Um, I like some polish. I like it to look um, a little luxury, I guess. But I've really found that I like tool watches in general. So I think that's partly why I don't wear the Grand Seiko all the time because it just feel like it doesn't fit my personality and it's a little flashy with the polish. But yeah, I was wearing it at work last week or the week before. It was kind of sticking out, and I'm like, are people noticing how shiny this watch is? Or people probably don't care, but it just yeah, I just got to get used to it being more of my personality.
Yeah. Real quick before we get going, I'm wearing a watch. I know we've talked about that. I don't think you'd consider, but I feel like this is a nice mix of. It's not really all that tooly, but it's a tool watch, but it's very kind of dressy looking. I'm wearing the Tudor Black Bay 54
Oh yeah.
Lagoon Blue. Um, yeah, I'm really warming up to this watch. I know I've talked about how neither of us, my wife and I who share it, reach for it all that much, but I really like wearing it. It's a little blingy. Now, I don't love a ceramic bezel on a dive watch, but I have two stainless steel bezel watches, this and then the Detroit Lions Breitling Chronomat, which is arguably more loud than a ceramic dive bezel. But for whatever reason, I'm okay with that because I think it can scratch up and get some character. I think that's what I actually like about it. This is a pretty blingy watch, but it's still a very capable tool watch. You can swim with this, you can do anything with it. So I don't know. I know the color is probably not for you, but I think you might be a BB54 guy, maybe the standard model, maybe, or maybe they'll come out with something. Some who predicted some. I watched a prediction video today. Oh, maybe Adrian. I
Nice.
think Adrian.
Yeah.
He predicted a two tone BB54. Maybe that is the
That'd be
watch for
pretty
you.
cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. I was telling you how I tried on a Black Bay 54 again recently. I feel like the first time I tried it, I thought it was kind of small, and then I tried it again. I'm like, this fits me perfect. What was I thinking? So yeah, like the actual like if it was the exact same Black Bay 58 colorway with the gilt on the bezel and the red triangle, it'd probably be a buy for me. But I'm curious to see, yeah, maybe they'll come out with a different version of the 54 and what does that look like? So
A two-tone BB54 would look pretty rad. I really like this five-link bracelet. A two-tone five-link bracelet like that's on the
mm,
BB36-1 or whatever the heck it's called now, like that our Sanjay has. That looks
uh-huh.
pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. As we've talked, the two-tone Tudor is pricey. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the only thing. How much is that going to cost? This one cost now I think 4,700. So what's a two-tone going to cost? Six?
I don't know. I think they have the Chrono that's two-tone. I want to say it's like 10 grand or something,
Oh
but the
my God.
Chrono's more expensive. So,
Yeah, well, with
well,
the complications. So,
the Black Bay one is 7 grand.
oh
So
my
maybe a
God, eight?
two-tone Black Bay
Oh, could
54
be
would be
eight.
an 8 minor.
Ooh, that's a tough ask.
That is, yeah. But I mean, secondary, those prices really drop. So,
Yeah, and there's always hype initially with Tudor releases, and then they sink. Then that's when you
yeah.
pounce. So, this Lagoon Blue is still trading above retail in every place I can see, which is kind of funny because, like I said, I went to I didn't buy this from the authorized dealer near me. But I went in there one day and they had one just sitting there. Now I didn't ask if it was already spoken for, because sometimes they'll do that. They'll put watches in the case even though they're already sold, just so
Yeah.
people can see them. But
Yeah, I'd be curious to know because I think there are waiting lists for those.
yeah,
I think.
But all right, well, I guess we're about 23 minutes in now, almost 24 minutes in. We should probably get to the main topic. I'm
Let's
going to
do it.
mention it in the opening. I'm going to do a separate opening, and we're going to be swearing in this. So if you're listening around your kids or something, maybe listen to it later. There will be the explicit warning on this episode. You saw the title. You can. I'm going to try all kinds of fancy ways to spell out shitter without actually spelling it out. Maybe a dollar sign, some asterisks, something like that. But yeah, I don't know what got me thinking about this topic. The topic of shitters. Um, it's something I've thrown around. I've heard you throw around. People we know in watch groups have thrown it around. YouTubers like Archie Luxury. I think it got mostly popularized, I believe, on like Reddit and in the forums. I think that's where it came from. So I thought we'd explore, is it fair to call a watch a shitter? Should we call a watch a shitter? What is a shitter? Is our definition of shitter something different? Can it be a term of endearment, which I think it can be all of those things, a negative thing, a positive thing. You can just say like lovingly, yeah, this is my shitter in my collection. So yeah, we're going to be swearing a lot. We're going to talk about shitters. So Keith, let me have it. What do you consider to be a shitter, first of all? And yeah, maybe just go into everything you feel about shitters.
Yeah, so it is a term I use. Some people, I was reading a Reddit. I was like Googling shitter a little bit. I found this Reddit thread from like 8 years ago when they were trying to determine if the word could be used in this group or not. And first of all, I don't want to be in a group where they're banning the word shitter. This take me out of the group then. There's too much toxic positivity and there's not enough gatekeeping in watches. We could use a little gatekeeping based on what I'm going to say, what I think shitter is. But first of all, people are too easily offended by the word shitter, I guess. But anyways, shitter for me, I put it into 3 different meanings. I use it for different meanings, and I think you definitely hit on one of them. But I use it for, and I have examples of each. So I use it for a watch I think is bad. I use it for a term of endearment. Like I would say, as someone who has 4 watches and there's 2 Seikos and 1 Citizen, I feel like a lot of my collection is shitters. I use it for my own watches that I love, and I use it in the third way as like it's a good watch, but you could do better type of thing. So,
Right.
let me start with the first one. A watch I think is bad. Okay, recently, as an example, I was watching this YouTube video. I don't think I've mentioned it on the podcast, but they have all those YouTube videos at the end of the year, like watches we wore most or our favorite watches for the year. And I was watching one, and this guy was talking about like a copy watch, like a San Martin or one of those type brands. And he said, "Hey, if you're wondering why I'm talking about this watch, I don't have a lot of money. This is what I buy." And I said, "Okay, yeah, that's fine." And then I go into his channel. He has his own channel, and like he talked about his favorite watches he bought that year, and he bought like 20 copy watches of like San Martins or Sea Stern, or I forget all the different. And like those are shitters. Like, be proud of something that there's no reason you could put money towards those 20 watches and get something you could actually be proud to wear. And it doesn't have to be high end. It could be whatever. I don't know, a Seiko 5 or I don't know why you feel the need to buy those copy watches. Those are definite. You have a whole collection of shitters there. Like, what is the point of doing that? So I do use it in the way it was meant to be used, as like just a bad watch. Do you have anything to say to that, Clayton?
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think those people who buy 20 copy watches, they get hung up on the specs like that people like Jody highlight, like sapphire crystal. They think the Seiko 5 is a shitter compared to the San Martin because the San Martin has sapphire and the Seiko 5 has mineral crystal. So they would argue that the Seiko 5 is a shitter.
Right.
And the San Martin may have a better micro adjust clasp, may have a better bracelet. So in their mind, they think the Seiko 5's a shitter. That's why they buy the San Martin. Just the devil's advocate. I think I've seen enough of these people who buy a lot of these watches. I think that's where they're coming from. Like spec wise, they don't care that it's a carbon copy of a Submariner or whatever watch, right? They just like that they get sapphire crystal and a decent clasp. So I think that's why they think that way.
In that video I watched, he said, "Oh, the two watches I hope to buy next year. One is an homage of a PRX," and I'm just like, really? You can't just can't just put some of that money you're spending on those copy watches towards a PRX?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's how San Martin gets people is and like Islander too, right? They know like the spec heads love the certain things that Seiko and maybe Tissot aren't giving them. And even though the rest of the watch may be junk, they give that stuff and then they offer it for way less. And they just, oh, I'll buy this instead. I'll buy a PRX copy for $100 instead of spending how much ever a PRX is.
Yeah, even San Martins, I mean, they add up. I mean, I know they're less expensive watches, but you're buying a few of them. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's some
of them are like $300.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, overall, I think I agree with your definition, your first definition anyway.
Yeah. And so we'll move on to my second definition, and that's a term of endearment. As I said, my own collection. I have a bunch of shitters. Maybe I could buy some higher end, maybe not, but it's just like, I like kind of affordable watches. That's not all I like, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for them. So I do use it as a term of endearment. Oh yeah, I bought another shitter or whatever the case is. And it's just a way of acknowledging what I'm buying, but still liking it and being okay with it.
Yeah.
Do you use it? You said you used it in that way too, right?
Oh yeah, I have. Like I guess I'm lucky is that I kind of have defined roles for like affordable quartz watches because I use them for work. They suit my job better than wearing an expensive dive watch even because I'm banging them around all the time. So my collection, I have a rotation of 6 G-Shocks and a Shinola, which I fully admit, I'm going to get into the Shinola a little bit, but that's a shitter, right? I don't think it's based on quality, but I know on perception, and I would even say for the price, it's a shitter. But I use it for work, and it's an awesome work watch. So I know a lot of people, like I think Jeff McMahon struggles with, having a collection now. He's on G-Shocks. And he struggles with getting a bunch of G-Shocks, but I have a time and place for those every single day, or maybe not everybody does. If you had 7 G-Shocks, would you ever wear them? I don't know.
What about the new watch you got?
Oh yeah, which I haven't even mentioned. We're going on a trip where I don't really want to wear anything too flashy or anything. So yeah, I bought a Veyer, which it's a brand that I guess they've hit me over the head with marketing, and I know a lot of people like in the Slack group that I'm in, a bunch of people are picking up Veyers. So I think they're like direct guerrilla marketing on Facebook and social media is paying off because I swear now that I have one, I'm seeing everybody has Veyers, and I think I'm going to do a whole episode about, but it's essentially an homage of a fictional watch. Was it General Kurtz? Is that Marlon Brando's character in Apocalypse Now? He's famous. Marlon Brando took the bezel off of his GMT Master, and he wears a bezel-less GMT Master in that movie. So this is basically a 24-hour bezel-less GMT. It's an homage to that watch. So I kind of like that. I don't like a copy watch per se, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of neat that it was an homage of a movie watch, which I think is kind of an interesting idea. That kind of homage I'm okay with because you can't go out and buy that Rolex without the bezel. So I kind of like that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the finishing is actually pretty good. I said, and I think a lot of Veyers have the similar. The case is a little too on the nose. It's like a Speedmaster case, But I ripped on Omega for having sharp edges in the past. This one actually feels a little more refined. Yeah, I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but it actually feels pretty good. But yeah, I guess most people would probably classify that as a shitter though. So yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. But that's like a loving. I say that lovingly. Like yeah, that's my cheap Vair quartz shitter.
Yeah, I feel bad calling out brands, but like brands like Laurier that I really like, or I like Zelos, Astor and Banks. I like all those brands, but I do use the term shitter, not because they're bad watches, because it's just like the term a term of everyone should have like maybe a one micro brand in their collection, but you don't need 30 of them. But
But some
yeah, I do
people have
use it as a
30 of them.
term.
Some people only collect micro brands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I guess that's where I have like my one hang up about calling watches shitters. And um because I think you sent me a video where a guy said stop buying shitters, you're wasting all
Yeah,
your
yeah.
money. And you disagreed with me. I maybe he didn't say it overtly, but I kind of feel like especially young impressionable collectors take that as just buying like the same 7 to 10 watches that everybody has, and then that sort of takes it doesn't encourage individuality in the hobby, which I think is sorely lacking. I think so many people have the same watches, and I don't know if they own them because they like them, and if they do, that's awesome. But I think there's a lot of like, I don't know if it's peer pressure necessarily, but they're so afraid to buy a dud because these things are not cheap that they like it okay, but they know it's safe. So that's why they buy it. So sometimes I do feel like the term it doesn't encourage individuality, maybe.
Yeah, one thing he doesn't define in that video of what he thinks a shitter is.
Right.
So like, is he talking about a Timex? Is he talking about a Longines? Is he talking about, I don't know. Like, so it's all kind of up for you to decide. And I mean, this goes without saying. We say it all the time. Whatever makes you happy. Like when I say you should only have whatever, a couple micro brands in the collection, I'm saying me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm saying this is how I collect watches. If you're happy with 20 copy watches, I think, maybe you'll regret it down the road. I don't know. But if that's what really makes you happy, then, whatever, life is short.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever little corner of this hobby that you find enjoyment in, that's awesome for you, right? But
Yeah,
I do know people who have seemingly, I'm in groups and stuff, and seemingly they come up with another like brand that I've never heard of. Like maybe it's a fashion brand. I don't even know. But then I'm thinking like, okay, how many of these do you have? And if that makes you happy, that's awesome. But I know, yeah, I'll just like you just did. I'll put myself there. That would not make me happy. That's just not the kind of collector I am. Having a bunch of those watches, having a bunch of any watches, you know. So yeah, I sometimes, and I feel bad when I go there in my mind, like that's a shitter. Why does he have so many shitters? Then I'm like, don't. That's mean for you to say. I don't say it out loud, obviously, but that's mean for you to think.
yeah, and that leads into my third definition of what a shitter is. It's not a bad watch. It's just like someone who's been into watches for years. Like, should you be buying a Seiko 5 or should you be buying something a little more upscale? Again, whatever floats your boat. I know there was that Seiko 5 that was really popular last year that everyone liked. There's always those standout watches. But if you're buying just like the one I always see at Macy's, that green Seiko 5 diver, and you've been into watches for 10 years, like I use it shitter as a term. As like, yeah, I like the watch, but maybe you could do better now. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
that you have to. I feel like I gotta preface everything. Not that you have to, but maybe just think about it a little. Like
I think
my
that's
thing
the
is like,
key, the thinking
is
about it.
like whatever. I'm over the hill now. Who knows how much time I got left on planet Earth?
Oh, Jesus.
There's only so many days to wear watches. Let's wear something you really are gonna really love. Maybe it is a Seiko 5. I don't know, but I picked Seiko 5 because I really like Seiko 5s. There's a lot of like I like
Me
the
too.
30 millimeter black dial. watch. I don't know the reference number, but just like the one with like kind of like has the Fotina. Like that's a really cool and it looks great in person. But I have to stop myself from buying it because I know it might just be a quick fix type of purchase, and I'm gonna be like, oh man, I wish I would have put this towards a different watch. So I'm saying it to myself too, like I gotta stop myself because I really do appreciate watches like that. So
Ding, ding, ding. I
yeah,
think you just hit it.
yeah.
People are, let's say, like, there's a list, a collector has a list like you have, and they have to save up for a while. Sometimes you get bored when you're saving, and then a new Seiko 5 collaboration watch or something comes out, and it's like a little dopamine fix. Like, oh, you know what? This won't really hurt the watch budget too much. What's a couple $100? Or, that's maybe how we end up with a bunch of G-Shocks or something, right? Because they're kind of guilt-free purchases. It doesn't really distract from your saving, right? It doesn't put a dent in the PayPal account or anything. I can take $100 out of it and no big deal. Really doesn't detract from my goal. So I think we do that enough. And then you have a collection of, 25 affordables all of a sudden.
This makes me want to ask you about what you said your goal was, a few episodes ago of saving a money every month, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it might
yeah,
be out
yeah,
the
yeah.
window. And we were running long, so you don't have to talk about it. But it makes me want to ask you about it.
Well, now, I mean, I didn't know that watch was going to come up, and that was a watch you and I had talked about, and I kind of had to make that work. But now, like, I'm forced into I'm just in a holding pattern. I have to be, because that was not an inexpensive watch, and I really didn't. I sold two watches that really did not put a dent in how much I spent. I'm eating the cost pretty much. So watch budget gonzo. So yeah, I picked up this cheap and cheerful Veyor for our upcoming trip to Cabo. I can use that swimming, and actually, I can like put a leather. I'm contemplating just taking the Veyor and no other watch. I want to travel with the Nomos World Timer, because that's like the coolest part of that is like pressing the button and actually using it in a different time zone, which I think would be fun. And I kind of want to take the Gruna because we are going out to a nice dinner at the all-inclusive resort. But I don't know. Part of me is just like, just take the Veyor and that's it. If something happens to it, who cares? Right? If
Yeah,
something
I
happened to the
agree.
Nomos, I'd be kind of bummed.
Yeah, I I'm just I have a lot of anxiety in general, so it sometimes increases when I'm traveling. So it's like the one less thing I have to worry about is the watch I'm wearing. Now, I did go on a trip last year for a week, and I only brought my Casio. That was kind of a regret. I wish at least I brought something else. This year, I'll probably bring my SPB 143 or something on vacation. But otherwise, yeah, I don't like. That's one less thing you have to worry about.
I think I am going to bring the Nomos because I will regret it if I don't. And I'm just going to try. But I also like that the Veyor is a GMT. So when I'm swimming and we have a couple, we're doing ATV riding, which my wife had a scooter incident once. I don't know how this ATV thing is going to go, but we're doing that. So the Veyor would be like a perfect watch to wear for that.
Be
So
careful on those ATVs.
I
I
know
think, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne hurt. I think that's how the
spinal
saxophone
issues.
player in Dave Matthews Band hurt himself. There's a lot of
Oh
ATV
Jesus.
issues.
I don't really want to wear the Nomos for that. But then I have to
Yeah,
have it in the room somewhere.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
I know you see people traveling with these expensive watches. Now, my neighbor, who has the Seamaster 300, the white dial that he bought from Topper, he has done all-inclusive trips a bunch to Jamaica and stuff, and he always wears the SMP for that, and he's never had an issue. I think that's probably the only watch he takes. But I don't think he's ever like felt uncomfortable wearing a nice watch there at the resort. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's I know someone who recently brought all of it. I think he brought all of his watches on vacation, which includes multiple Rolex and stuff. I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
I'd be so nervous.
But did you finish your third point about
I did, yeah.
shitters? Yeah. So recently, Britt Pierce was talking about shitters. when she got into watches, she bought a Nomos and she thought that was just like a sensational watch. And then I think she watched an Archie Luxury video where he specifically talked about not buying shitters and he mentioned Nomos by name. And she was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. I thought I had a great watch here. Did I buy it? Did I buy a shitter?" I remember when I bought my Shinola, because I knew nothing about watches. I was just getting smartwatch fatigue. I wore my Garmin everywhere. And I remember I think it was my wife's, I don't know, birthday party or something. I remember seeing a picture of me and I was like nicely dressed and I had this big 51 millimeter Garmin on. I was like, that looks stupid. So I was like, I want to get a nice watch. I'm from Michigan. I've told this story before. My cousins live near Detroit. They had a bunch of Shinolas. And when I went to the local jewelry store, and they were a Rolex, Tudor, they had all those there, but Shinola was the brand I remembered, and it kind of reminded me of home. So that's what I bought, and I was super proud of it. And I remember looking when I got into YouTube, then like I typed in Shinola, and all the videos I found were like, "Oh, they're a ripoff. Don't buy Shinola." And the whole controversy of like assembled in Detroit, made in Detroit versus assembled in Detroit. And I was like, "Oh, I guess I made a mistake. This is a really bad watch. This is not thought highly of at all." Like, wow, why did I pay this much? I way overpaid. I didn't even ask for a discount. I didn't even know you could do that. Uh, but I love that watch. I think it's a great quality watch. It's held up for over 7 years. Uh, it's taken a beating. Bezel's still great. Original design. Toolless micro adjust. On a watch I bought over 7 years ago. Like, still some brands can't get that right. So it's got a lot going for it. But yes, I would agree it's a shitter.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen that watch specifically, but I know Shinolas are known for being overpriced, but they seem to be built well.
Built very well. Like, I think I've even told you, like, the Doxa I owned or the Shinola, like if I gave them to my wife and said, and she didn't know what brands, she knows the brands, but if I gave them to somebody and said, which watch do you think costs more? I guarantee you they would pick the Shinola every single time. The bezel action feels a million times better on the Shinola than the Doxa. I thought it was a little tinny on the Doxa. The bracelet, no question, is better on the Shinola versus the Doxa. But I think like the perception is part of it too. So perception wise, Shinola is just a shitter brand that people will like look down at you. Doxa, you get street cred with. So
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast.
yeah. But do you like? I think maybe not, but there's just some brands that I have never even handled or seen in person that I label as shitters. And I hate to name brands, but I'm going to because we're in this far, so we might as well. Like whenever I see a Yema, I just think, shitter, or Venezianico. Like even though people say they're well made, that's just a brand I look at and just say like, oh man. You might as well just light your money on fire.
The last 2 years, that brand has really taken off.
Yeah.
I see them everywhere now.
I feel so bad about feeling that way, but that's just like and maybe I'll see a Venezianico in person one day and like be really impressed, but there's just something about that brand that gives me like just not a great feeling. And I just immediately think like, oh, that's a shitter.
You got to make it to Wind Up one day.
Yeah, I know. I do. So have you handled them?
Yeah, I have handled them. I didn't have like a super amount of interest in them, so I didn't stay too long. So I feel like I didn't even form an opinion on it. People seem to like them. But yeah, I didn't really stop. Maybe I looked really quick. I don't really remember, so I can't really say one way or the other.
But then there's other watches, like I know you, I think, and other people think like Denison are shitters, but I think they're kind of cool. I like the dials. I know it's a cheap quartz movement inside and they're thin and they don't feel anything special, but still, like, I don't know. I'm intrigued by them. So, but I know you don't like them. You don't get them.
Well, maybe the perceived quality just holding one, but as I've said before, like there's not enough what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word, but there's not enough stock in the design, like liking a design of something. That's why I don't like the check the box people. It's because the design is the most important thing and you're not giving any value to it. Like if you love the design or something, maybe it's if you look at it, objectively, maybe it's a bit overpriced, but that's really what matters. And that to me, that has a lot of value. So if you see a Denison and you love how it looks, that's all you need to know. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
So that's why even saying if something's a good value so subjective is because design is so important and whatever is different designs speak differently to different people.
Absolutely. Yep. So like I think the stone dials are kind of cool. I like those like dual time Denisons. I don't know. I think they're neat. I don't know that I would ever buy one, but yeah, that's a watch I think gets a lot of flack. I think like Watch Chris on his worst watches of the year video like mentioned Denison, doesn't understand why they're popular. I've heard a lot of people say that, and that's one like that I think is kind of cool. But Venezianico, which so many people say are like good quality and everything, I see one and I immediately just think like crap. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I mean, that's Seiko gets a lot of flack. Oh, it doesn't have the micro adjust. Oh, the QC issues. To me, it's like they make cool looking watches. That's why I spend my money on them.
Yeah, I think there are certain people who like I guess it's an endearment like, oh, the Seiko might be a shitter, but it's my shitter. That's my
Right,
shitter
exactly.
brand because they have a history that I'm attracted to. Like we know some pretty high-end collectors who think like micro brands and everything with probably worse specs than Seiko are absolute shitters, would never be caught dead wearing one, but they have a, watch box full of Seikos that
Yeah.
those micro brand people would think are shitters, but that's their shitter brand.
Right.
Another definition, I guess, that I have of shitter is when a watch doesn't live up to the expectation that you put on it, like maybe brand or price, like a luxury watch that you find disappointing. Have you ever? I know you haven't owned nearly as many watches as I have, but has there been a watch that you spent significant money on, got it, and thought like, oh, this is really disappointing? Because I classify shitter in that respect as well. It might not be a shitter watch, but for the money, it's a shitter.
Not for the watches I've owned, but I mean, there's certain like when you Google shitter, Hublot comes up a lot.
Yes.
But again, like there's some Hublots I really like. So it's all in the eye of the beholder. But I mean, there's certainly high end watches. People criticize a lot of the designer brands as being shitters, which I could see. So they're definitely out there.
Yeah. I think with Hublot and stuff, people put a lot of emphasis on movements sometimes, like the in-house thing. And man, like some of those Hublots are just cool. Like who cares if it's not an in-house movement? It's gonna be less of a headache down the road for you anyway.
Yeah, not enough emphasis on design and too much emphasis on movements.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If you're wearing a watch and you're looking, you don't know what movement's in there. Let's say you were never told what movement was in a Hublot. Is that gonna like make or break it? Like it tells the time for you. It winds the watch and tells the time. What you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool to get into movements and what the accuracy is and the issues they are with them or ones that are really solid or that's all cool to learn about, but ultimately like they all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah. Now like Christopher Ward just came out with an in-house movement, I guess the true GMT, which is a phrase you love.
Yeah, there's a couple of phrases that I always cringe. One is true GMT. Another one is when you describe a watch as fun, which I'm sure I've done. It's like to me, it's like, oh, it's like an affordable that it's just like some affordable watch. And I'm gonna call it fun, but like the really nice watch I have, that's not fun for some reason.
Yeah,
Even
what's
though
so fun about it? Yeah, I know I've said that. I know I've called watches fun, but I'm with you. When I hear people describe a watch as fun, like, oh yeah, name me 3 fun things about it. What's so fun?
but again, like that's a fine way to describe it. It's like a weird thing with me. Like true GMT is a weird thing with me because like it's just there's different GMTs for different reasons. One is not a true And I want to know, that's something I should look up. Who came up with that name, True GMT? It's probably some YouTuber who didn't know what they were talking about, and then it caught on or something. You know what I mean? Like, or is that like a thing that like watchmakers use? Oh, is that True GMT or whatever, an Office GMT?
Now,
Yeah.
is True GMT and Traveler GMT the same thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, just like independent hour hand, right?
right. Or Flyer, I think they
Yeah,
use.
yeah,
And then the other one's Office,
yeah,
or I don't even know the other names
yeah.
that you could use for it. But
So I guess the Veyor is Office, but I don't know. But the GMT hand moves independently. The hour hand doesn't. So I guess that's what makes it
yeah,
Office. Yeah, which is fine.
but
I don't find it that I prefer the independent hour hand, but it's not impossible to use or anything. It's fine.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the data is a pain to set with those independent
Yeah,
hour hands.
yeah,
But for Christopher Ward, you had you had a GMT that was true. It worked like a GMT should. It just worked a little differently than your new one. And for
right.
some reason, the watch enthusiasts are really into that. I don't know if it's because Rolex uses them, or I don't really know the reason per se. It's because when you're traveling, it's easier to change the hour. But I never, I barely leave the house, so what's the point? Yeah, I don't really know why that's a
Is
true.
this one a big deal because it's their own movement? Is that right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
their own
yeah.
movement.
Now I don't. Now with CW, I don't know if I'd ever refer to Christopher Ward as a shitter brand, but it's a brand for a long time. Like with I just had a bad perception of them. Like the logo stuff, I still don't feel like they know what they are 100%. And that, like, if I'm not down with a brand's like story and reason and all that stuff, that's another criteria for calling a brand a shitter brand for me.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the watches are great. I've handled Christopher Ward watches. They're solid for sure.
I
But
must say, like, whenever I'm at a wind up, I'm at the Christopher Ward table, I'm always like, these are some of the best watches here. I
yeah,
always think that.
yeah. I handled the Bel Canto at a watch meetup last year, and I was really impressed with it. Like it felt like a very expensive watch for sure.
That's a great watch.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I just still can't like get excited about buying one. Owning a Christopher Ward is just not something I want to do. Like $4,000 for a Christopher Ward or $4,000 for even like a Tudor. I'm probably picking the Tudor.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean there's luxury brands, luxury watches I've tried. Well, I rag on the Speedmaster all the time. Would I say it's a luxury shitter? Maybe. Just because I just was not impressed with it. I remember I handled a Blancpain 50 Fathoms. I've talked about it before. Felt really bad, and it could have just been that one. But I was wearing my sub at the time, and my sub felt a million times better. Just bezel action, felt like a real solid luxury product, in that I didn't feel like the 50 Fathoms did. So
Yeah. I keep thinking about the Christopher Ward. I wonder if they expect this new GMT to be a big seller, because I don't think it will be.
I don't think it will be either.
It's a tough ask, and it doesn't wow people like the Loco or like the 12 did, or like the Bel Canto.
I'm just not sure it's a very attractive watch.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You got to be into all those subdials and things, and the cutout. There's like the cutout on the dial.
Yeah, that's the part of it I don't like. I don't love the cutout.
I feel like this is where Christopher Ward might, when they switched from being like a brand that sells watches for $900 to $4,000. I think this is going to be a struggle for them to sell this.
Yeah, I think if you're introducing this new movement, I'm assuming they're charging more for it to get back some of their R&D on the movement. I think you got to put it in something a little more tame and with mass market appeal. Maybe your third watch with this movement can be something a little more out there. Like I feel like this is kind of an out there design. You got the power reserve on the dial. You got the cutout. I do like a non-traditional GMT, but even I don't really love this watch design wise.
Maybe, yeah, It is a little out there. Maybe they feel like the true GMT watch is for the true Christopher Ward collector.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like, oh, the big fans of ours are going to buy this watch. Maybe not some random person looking for a watch. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even a random watch enthusiast looking for a watch, maybe not buy that, but the real Christopher Ward fans are going to be into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one, the movement is spectacular, and congrats to them. But this watch, kind of a miss. But maybe the next one will hit it out of the park. They have that movement now, so I'm sure they'll do some cool things. You say what you will, but I think Mike France did an interview with Sam from Casual Watch Talk, and he said he really pushes the designers to, he challenges them to not be boring and to do some out there stuff. So,
which is cool.
Yeah, which I think
I don't
is
need
great.
another watch that looks like a Rolex.
Right.
I want something different that looks cool, and it's a risk because sometimes you'll do it and it doesn't appeal to a brand I like will do it, doesn't appeal to me, but at least I like that they tried. Like, this is a good whatever I think of this watch. I think this is a good try of doing something unique. It does look cool. So, I noticed that date window is really sunken in.
Yes,
it's
it
like
is.
the Seiko Solar speed timer that I had the same issue.
Well, I guess in closing, I don't know what we accomplished talking about shitters, but yeah, I think, I don't know, again, like part of me, I do think watches are shitters and I do call them shitters, but then part of me feels really bad because I remember like having my soul crushed when I realized like, oh, Shinola is not highly thought of. And I remember Britt telling that story about Archie Luxury calling her Nomos a shitter. I always say, no matter how proud you are of your most expensive watch in your collection, there is a guy out there who uses the most expensive watch you have to pick up dog poop or work on his plumbing or mow his lawn. Like there's always going to be somebody out there with way more expensive watches than you have, no matter how expensive your most expensive watch is. So all right, anything to add on the shitters?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, hey, we actually got out like an hour and 5 minutes. Not too bad. And we stayed on topic with watches most of the time, too. All right. Well, yeah, that was fun. I wanted to do this shitter episode for quite a while. So, yeah, hopefully you didn't have kids in the car when you were listening to it. And I'll have to count how many times we said the SH word here. But yeah, this means I have to put the explicit when I'm setting up the episode in my hosting site. I have to hit the tab now that says explicit content. It's going to have the big E by it. But yeah. All right. Well, Keith, awesome. Congrats on your speed timer. Glad you're bulking up a little easier for you to wear it now. And yeah, congrats to your wife on her PRX as well. Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Talk to you again soon.
Yep.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, and there he goes. Thank you so much, Keith, for taking the time to join me for, I guess, what could be seen as a bit of a controversial episode. I don't think we were too harsh at all. But yes, like I said at the top of the show, welcome your feedback. Please let me know if you abhor the use of the word shitter or it's something in your watch vocabulary that you use quite often when you're talking about and thinking about watches. Again, shoot me a message on Instagram. Would love to hear from you. This gets released as a YouTube video, so you can comment on there. You can text the podcast. Like I always say, I'm not being rude. I can't text you back. All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you listening. And remember, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant, but hey, at least you're outside. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Watch Dog Podcast. See you later.